Hey, how's it going, everyone? How are we doing today? It is Monday, the 15th of August, and it's like 5 to 5, so it's a bit of a later podcast today. But quite a few things to talk about, actually, for once. First off, it's been a gorgeous weekend. I'm sure everyone can agree. And yeah, I've had a really good weekend. As you all know, I went to London this weekend to see Louis C.K. And I've got to say, it was freaking hilarious, man. It was, yeah. One thing I was really surprised at was the fact that for me, Louis C.K. is my favorite comedian, probably of all time. Of all time, yeah, that I've seen in my life so far. He is my favorite comedian, but people I speak to about people I was telling, I'm going to go see Louis C.K. No one really knows who he is. Of all the people I've spoke to, anyway, usually just white middle class Englishmen. Don't really know who he is, or if they do know, it's like through me speaking about him. And but when I got there Friday, sorry, when I got there, it was just chocker. It was about 7,000 or 8,000 seats sold out. And he had 3 support acts on. Like the funniest bit of the night was before anyone came on stage, he went on the PA system and pretty much said, I just started making some jokes on the PA system, and it was just hilarious, man. Just making jokes about like who's gonna perform here soon, but sadly Lady Gaga is gonna perform, but we have to cancel because she's dead, and like it's just the way he said it and stuff was really funny. And then the support acts came on. They weren't that great, to be honest. He hand chose them. I thought he flew them over. And to be honest, I think everyone was just ready for Louis to come on. The show started about 20 minutes late. That I think just kind of everyone was a bit distracted and a bit like, oh, right, okay, let's go. Let's try and move this on so we can see the main event. I think 3 supports were maybe too much. I don't know if it just needed 2 or just the 1 maybe. Anyway, yeah, really good night. Funny stuff, man. So I gave it. Me and my friend were talking about. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I'd say. What stopped it from being a 10 out of 10 was kind of just like I think it was just a bit too long. I think it started late. The supports went on for about 20 minutes, and then just kind of like by then I was already really tired. I'd been up for CrossFit that morning, and I don't know. There's something about his comedy that like he did about an hour and something. It just felt like the tone of his comedy and the kind of the delivery and the rhythm and the timing of it is very like similar all the way through. So after a while you might fade out of a joke or something and fade back in just because it's quite rhythmic, maybe. I don't know. That's my only probably criticism, but again, who the fuck am I to judge? Just a bucket list moment ticked off. So happy that I got to see him. On form as always. Funny stuff. And yeah, if you get a chance to go see him, absolutely do so, because he's mint. And yeah, so I did that on the Friday. Also, props to Uber. The first real time that I've used Uber, and it being like such a huge convenience, because obviously when everyone comes out of Wembley Stadium, everyone was rushing to the tube, and we kind of decided we'd get an Uber because there was only 9 minutes to get picked up. We got picked up. It was £15 all the way back to the flat we're staying at, and that flat was like 5 and a bit miles away. So I was like, really chuffed. Just the whole night went really well. Apart from hot dogs, 2 hot dogs costing £15. But I mean, what are you going to do? It's a bucket list thing. I'm just going to enjoy it, pay what I need to pay, because I don't know if I'll get to see him again. I'd like to see him in like a Comedy Cellar standing, like just with only like a few hundred people there. I think that'd be great. And I will definitely get to the New York Comedy Cellar one day. That's another bucket list of mine to go there. I'm a big comedy fan, or a big New York comedy fan. So yeah, it was really good. The Saturday, I mean, just the weather was just amazing all weekend. Like so hot in London. It's like a different country, especially when it's hot. It was like 27, 8 degrees, just roaring sunshine, no wind. It was just beautiful. But thankfully I packed one tank top and one pair of shorts just in case. But that's pretty much all I wore the whole weekend, you know. But yeah, so Saturday we had a friend of a friend's. I call him a friend. His birthday party, we had a house party and stuff, and yeah, it was going really well. Played beer pong, and I was 2 for 2 the games I played. Yeah, it was great. And but I got into an argument. Well, I think everyone was drunk, but I think a lot of people jumped on me, not physically, but like I mentioned that. I mentioned, you know, in the podcast quite a while ago on the reasons why I would vote for Donald Trump. Hint of, you know, word of advice: don't mention it at a London house party that you'd vote for Donald Trump. People are comparing him to Hitler, like even, you know, and all this stuff. I'm just like, can we just relax? And then I obviously mention the reason. If you haven't heard the reasons why I vote for Donald Trump, I've said them in a different podcast. Go and listen to it. But I mentioned that and just got, and actually kind of feel like I held my own for being drunk and, you know, replying to about 6 other people's, why did you do that? That's not even an argument. This is so stupid. And I was just like, oh, sorry. I was just like, I was like halfway through, I was just fed up of defending myself, but then just everyone was just kind of jumping at kind of what I was saying, everything I was saying, but I feel like I did okay. I came out of it going, yeah, I regret saying it just from the sheer standpoint of I can't be bothered to say this anymore. But no, I feel like actually I was more justified in my opinion than I originally thought. But yeah, then the Sunday, didn't do much, and the game changer I've noticed going to London, if you guys have a chance, is to fly to London and back. The train for me is out now. I have like a lot of air miles. Again, I've done a video on that. Go check it out if you fancy on how to build your air mile collection. But I have a lot of air miles with BA, and I flew from Newcastle to London there and back, and just so much better. You know, when you get the train station, it takes me on the metro half an hour to get to Newcastle train station, then about 3.5 hours of train to London, then another half an hour to get to my friend's house where I stay. This time it was half an hour metro. I was already checked in, went through security, lay back, enjoyed my time in the airport, got a drink. The flight was about 45 minutes to an hour, and tube took about an hour and a half, and then I was there pretty much outside my friend's house. So and just the flying, you get the snacks, you get the drinks, you get I got the exit row. I booked. I am a BA Bronze member, not for much longer, but I am, and got in a week early. Just chose a exit row seat, and you get that extra leg room. And I always sit at the window. I'm one of those guys when I fly, even long distance, I never get up. Even if I need the loo, I just kind of hold it in, or I just never ever get up. So it might be a 13-hour flight, and I'll just sit there at the window just the whole time. People say it's not good for you, but you know, how often do I really do it? But flying is a game changer. If you go to London and you have either air miles or you got the money, the convenience and kind of, especially when I got the tube to Heathrow and I was flying back to Newcastle. I was just straight through security, dead easy. I was really flabbergasted how quickly I was through security at Heathrow. For some reason, I thought because it was such a busy airport that it would take no time. But instead of thinking, they've probably perfected the craft of whisking millions of people through every year. Anyway, in Heathrow, looking up at the board, looking for the time that my plane would fly back to Newcastle, and just seeing all these dream destinations. where everyone else was flying to, and I was just flying to Newcastle. Like the next plane going to Rio, or like friggin' I don't know, Sydney, and just all these destinations. I was like, oh god, and just looking around at the people in the airport who you just knew were going to like Los Angeles and stuff like that, and I was just sat there going to little Newcastle. I don't know, it just made me really ready for my travelling trip, or just to go on holiday in general. Made me really excited about it. So just overall, really, really good weekend. Really great to tick stuff off my bucket list. Figured out that flying's the better way to do it. Defended my Trump comments. Look, I'm not a huge Trump advocate. I'm not a Trump advocate at all, in fact. But I'm just so anti-Hillary that it makes me Trump. I'd rather neither of them were the presidential candidates. If you look back at the Obama presidency campaigns, you see even you take any of those Republicans over any of the ones there now. You take a McCain or what's that other crazy guy called, Mitt Romney. But you guys put yourself in that position. I don't even know if the American people did actually put themselves in that position. I feel like Hillary's wins were so controversial. She is a criminal. I feel like Trump's wins were actually a landslide, which is worrying how much of a landslide they were. But the fact that there was no real like actual opposition in the Conservative Party, Republican, makes me again question. Do you know what the presidential elections like? It's like the England football team. Like, everyone knows there's problems with it, but people only want to deal with it when there's like a big thing happening. So while the election's on, when England have a tournament that would get knocked out straight away in, and everyone just goes, well, let's sort out the problems. Within 2 months, look at it now, Premier League started, no one gives a shit about the England team anymore. Once this presidential campaign's over, regardless of what, well, I think if Hillary gets in once this campaign's over, everyone's just going to forget about the completely broken presidential election campaign, the fact that the whole superdelegates thing, the complete controversy between that, like the fact that companies buy and pay into people's election campaigns. People are just going to forget about it because it's broken, and people do forget about things that really do actually matter, that only come around every 4 years, just like the England team, and when we get knocked out of the World Cup or the Euros this time by Iceland, everyone's already forgotten about it. No one's keen to go, let's do something about this, let's fix this from the ground up. And I think that's what the powers that be in American politics and the 1% kind of want, just this election to be over, Hillary to get it, and to continue with the way they've been going. If Trump gets it, there's going to be so much outrage, hence my points that I made in the podcast and on Saturday night, that I think there'll be as much outrage as you need to start a political revolution in a country like America. Or just to start something. That was all I was saying, but it was like I was supporting... it was like I was defending Hitler and everything he did. I wasn't. I was just saying there's a way... well, the only way anything's going to change in the States is if they're so outraged that it lasts past the presidential election campaign. The only way the England team's going to get better is if people keep giving a shit now, when the FA actually give a damn and go, let's fix this. Instead of just investing loads of money in a place that England can train, as St George's Park, invest money right at the bottom levels and ensure that clubs at least promote their players. Promote the young English players in their teams. But yeah, that's probably just, I don't know. Anyway, it was a great weekend. It was great to see Lucy Kay. And I'll speak to you tomorrow. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Goodbye.